What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of me, my old man in a movie. I'm Gannon, this is my dad, Ryan, and today we are going to be reviewing A Working Man. Alright, so before we get into this, I'd like to read a brief synopsis of the film before we get started here.
Let's do it.
Levon Cade left behind a decorated military career in the Black Ops to live a simple life of working construction. However, when human traffickers kidnap his boss's daughter, his search to bring her home uncovers a world of corruption far greater than he ever could have imagined.
Sounds very similar to another
movie, yeah.
That I've seen.
Yeah, this is very similar to Taken.
Okay, yeah.
Very, very similar to Taken. So, give our initial thoughts real quick before we jump in. I thought that this film it wasn't like anything special, but I didn't think it was a bad film. I thought it was an okay film.
Yeah.
It had its moments. It did its thing. It's an action flick, it's all right.
Right. We just said it, but it was Taken, but not Taken. Like it was similar, but not quite up to the same par. I had a moment. I didn't realize that Sylvester Stallone had written this, and I saw that it was Bubba Productions. But when I saw his title there, I thought, oh, this. I kind of had high expectations for a moment. I was like, oh, this will be something, and then it never really kind of lived up to some of his other projects. So as far as the development of the characters and different things, but we'll get into all of that. But to use a millennial term, it was mid.
It was mid. That's a Gen Z term.
Okay, well, they're all the same to me.
Yeah.
It's all the same to me.
It's mid. It's mid.
I'm Gen X, so it is.
So you're ancient.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's get right in. So we're gonna do the trilogy or the blockbuster trio, which is 3 things that we liked about it. And then Trilogy of Change, which is 3 things that we would change about the film. We're going to rate the film. And then we're going to say whether we think you should go to see it in theaters, wait to stream, or skip altogether.
Give a recommendation. Okay, all right.
So let's get right into the blockbuster trio.
All right, here we go.
Okay, you can kick this one off.
All right, so blockbuster trio. I've got for the first thing, decent action. I mean, you mentioned that already. It was pretty good. It was fun watch. There's some action sequences that were entertaining, and I'll leave it at that. So there was the first thing for me.
And this is interesting, but the first thing that I had for this was the intro.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the intro.
Like before the film got started, they kind of were doing like a credits thing at the very beginning, but it did it in a very unique way, and I was like, this is really good. It
kind of showed his backstory when he was in the military, and it had some freeze frames with kind of
very
the
trippy
camera
at times and like very unique.
No, that's right. I forgot about that. That was good. Good call. Yeah, that was fun to watch. 2 for me was Jason Statham. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I think so.
I said not Liam Neeson again, all right, but he held my attention despite the length of this film. This thing was almost 2 hours. I felt like it was long for what it needed to be, but he was an interesting character to watch. I didn't mind seeing him in the lead role for this.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. All right, the second thing I had was the third act. I thought it took it to the next level. I thought the first act I thought was pretty good. The second act I thought was the weakest part of the film, and then I thought as it kind of had the climax at the end, I thought that was probably the best part of the film.
Yeah, it did grow as it went.
It had the best action. I think it had the best character, just kind of fight scenes and stuff. Yeah.
So for me, the third thing was it said we've talked about its connection to Taken. But I think it also kind of had a John Wick-esque thing going. So that was my third thing that I liked about it. That I said this kind of Taken meets Wick. The girl that got taken had a bit of I guess we haven't seen it yet, but like we've only gotten a couple films into the the John Wick series, but I'm assuming as we move forward, she had kind of a ballerina feel to her. Like
Yeah.
I had mentioned that to you. I was like, oh look, they're moving forward with this because he kind of gets tangled up in a mafia thing, and it feels like this could like continue. Like, oh boy, they're gonna keep coming after him, and this is gonna move into part 2, part 3. So, but more even than that, just some of the way the action was shot, some of the fight scenes, the intensity of some of that felt a little bit like John Wick, and
definitely did.
I like John Wick, and so I thought this was up to some of that. Again, not quite there, but it sat just below some of that.
Yeah. So the last thing I had for the blockbuster trio was good action. Basically, kind of what you said and what we've been saying. Just good action, just solid action.
Yeah.
Throughout.
Good. Okay.
All right. So let's move on to the trilogy of change. All right, so I'll kick this one off. So the first thing I had for it was I thought it was a little too quick at the beginning. Like it just kind of felt rushed a little bit, and some of the scenes felt cut weird to where they were very like there's one thing going on and then it just cuts immediately to something else, and it just felt real jumpy at times, especially at the beginning.
So this may play into that a little bit. I said this felt more like a TV episode, TV made for TV movie maybe at best, but even like almost like a TV series, like an action series that you would watch. So then a movie, I think, from the shots that were done, the plot line, the dialogue, the soundtrack, even like all of it just felt a little more canned than what you would expect from a theatrical release. So yeah, I mean, I know I had some things on the front end that I liked about it, but there were some limiting factors here for me, which is what left it below Taken, below John Wick. It just didn't feel up to that level for all these reasons.
All right, the second thing I had were some parts of the story were somewhat confusing. I felt like you didn't always know what was going on or who these characters were, but even though it was like you were supposed to know who some of the characters were, but you really didn't. And so that was kind of frustrating at times. It was like, who is that? Who is this character that they've kind of introduced? But they're talking to him like, you're supposed to know who he is and stuff.
So mashing that up with my last point, it's like a TV series where you walk into episode 5, and that's the first one you've watched, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was. So second for me is there were some odd characters. The first one that I remember being notable was the father-in-law. It was just very strange. He's got the birthday party, you remember, for the daughter, and I was like, this guy's weird. And then the Russian brothers, there were a couple brothers that they dressed in like they looked like they were in pajamas, like kind of offsetting matching pajamas, and it just, I don't know. Given what this film was trying to be, those characters didn't in particular, to me, they just didn't fit with the overall storyline. I don't know if they were injected for some humor, but with this being an action film, it really, without it being like an action comedy, like it just didn't have its place to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't quite get it.
All right. So the last thing I had was I would have liked to have seen more action. I felt like there were parts that kind of dragged on a little bit that could have been filled with more action.
Yeah.
So
and that's where I think, the runtime.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, if they would have cut the runtime, then I think that's a better than there being more action. Just cut the runtime.
Right. Okay, so last one for me. No real arc for the main character. So I don't know, this maybe is a thing with this style of film. It's difficult when you've got a guy that can basically just go in and do whatever he wants and beat everybody up. So how do you create an arc for him? What's the lesson he learns? How does he somehow create, you almost have to have something more internal for him that shifts as far as his values and different things. But this guy kind of just seemed to have it all together, I guess. There were some things around him that weren't working, but him in particular, like I didn't feel like there was a character flaw. He just went and kind of did his thing and saved the day. And so there was no arc. There was nothing like he just blasted through. So that may be I was gonna say a Stallone thing, but there, some of the films I've seen that Stallone has written and produced, like he definitely developed some depth to his characters, but this guy just didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right. So moving on to the rating.
Yeah.
So I gave this 6.5.
What? We didn't do it. We didn't talk about it ahead of time. Working man, hard hats.
Yeah, we'll do hard hats. 6.5 hard hats.
6.5 hard hats. Did you just say 6.5?
Yes.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was hearing you, but it wasn't registering. Then I was like, wait, I just heard this number. 6.5 hard hats right there for me too.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yeah. All right. So 6.5 hard hats.
Just a very mid movie. Nothing special. And that's why I said wait to stream.
Yeah.
You don't have to see it in theaters. I was on the verge of just saying skip it altogether.
Yeah.
But I think you could stream it.
I mean,
it's good to stream. You could stream it.
Stream or skip. It's not. There's plenty of other action movies that you could choose to watch that would.
I mean, if it's on a streaming service that you're paying for, might as well. But if not, then probably wait on it.
It's all right.
Or just skip it altogether.
It's all right. Maybe watch it at 1.5 speed.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we're almost at 700.
Almost 700. We were just trying to push to 600. Yeah. Now we're like we almost had a big jump. So yeah.
Yeah, we're getting there. Minecraft movie is coming up this weekend, so that'll be cool.
It's gonna be good. You and your sister will be doing the review of that one.
Mm-hmm. And there's a Five Nights at Freddy's trailer, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 trailer that is going to be dropping within, I think, April 2nd is what they said.
So we'll be hitting that
very soon.
Sure. Nice.
All right. Well, see you guys next time.